live again with the next guest. What's your name and what brings you to JCON?
Hi there. So my name is Tanja Obradovic. I work for Eclipse Foundation, and I'm here to represent Eclipse Foundation and a couple of working groups from the Eclipse Foundation, particularly Jakarta.io, Adoption Working Group, and the Eclipse IDE.
What should we know about recent evolutions in Jakarta EE? I know this is a very generic question, but can you pinpoint some of the most important things?
Yes. So, Jakarta, just a couple of sentences for people who are maybe not familiar with it, is the continuation of Java EE. So, the last version of Java EE was Java EE 8, and then Oracle has contributed the whole body of work to the Eclipse Foundation. And the community voted that the technology will continue with the Jakarta EE name. So we have all the specifications and related implementations at the Jakarta E. Probably the most famous one is Glassfish. And we're now actually developing Jakarta E. We're just about to release Jakarta E 11. And we have already started the work on Jakarta E12. So what has happened in last few years since it came to Eclipse Foundation? So not only that we had quite a few releases, some would say probably more releases than last few years in while it was with Oracle, but we managed to do quite a few innovations. So one thing that we had to deal with is to change the JAVAX namespace to Jakarta namespace. I'm sure people who are dealing with that are familiar. But we also introduced a new profile, Jakarta core profile. It came about in version 10. There are a couple of new specifications in Jakarta 11. There is Jakarta data. There are a lot of discussions about other new specifications that are going to come into possibly come into version 12. But also we're introducing maybe it's worth noted that we're introducing independent release of profiles. So it's not that you have to wait for the whole platform in order to use it. There are implementations that are now specific to the core profile or to the web profile, and then the platform. So yes, the core profile 11 was released in December. The web profile was 11 was released in March, and we're just about in next few weeks. We're expecting the release of the platform, but we're super excited to have the 12 also underway. So go visit jakarta.ee and find out more.
You also give talks, not at this conference, but what is the main topic you talk about at conferences?
Yeah, I talk about open source at the Eclipse Foundation, and I often use a topic of Jakarta E and how open source at the Eclipse Foundation and vendor neutral approach of the specification has flourished, and how that actually enables community to participate and evolve and innovate in this technology.
Eclipse, we know it from the editor, the IDE, now also Jakarta. What other Java-related things are within that foundation?
Okay, that's a huge topic. Yeah. There are tons of Java-related projects at the Eclipse Foundation, and we're getting submissions and proposals on a regular basis. One that I want to call out is the Adoption Working Group and Tamarin, the distribution, JVM distribution. You should all Java developers have a look into it and see the advantages of that approach. But I would say there are many other smaller projects that could be Java related, but not only Java related. So there is a huge space now that Eclipse Foundation is European-based open source foundation, the largest in Europe. There are open regulatory compliance working group ensuring the open source regulations are not putting restrictions on the open source community and open source development approach. There are software defined vehicle working group, extremely interesting and popular. And there are many others, we call them industry collaborations, way where organizations can get together and work on the technology they're interested in and make sure there are innovations and share of the information and share of the knowledge, of course.
Imagine I'm involved in an open source project. It's managed by a small group of people, volunteers. What could be the benefit of joining the Eclipse Foundation with a project?
So there are many benefits. I'm sure, first of all, I would like to say that there are various ways of doing an open source project. I can start my own GitHub project and then be clueless about the governance or IP or licensing or anything like that. Then there could be one vendor company doing open source projects. A great example could be Red Hat, right? And then there are foundations. So foundations are there typically to make sure that IP and licensings are taken care of, something developers don't like to deal with. Then there is infrastructure that is provided by a foundation like Eclipse Foundation. We like to make sure that anything that is proven by code that is worthy is something that our slogan is code first. So it needs to be proven that it's worthy of gathering companies and individuals and making sure that it's a business also friendly, potentially business friendly product. There are marketing services that we provide. Of course, process and governance structure. So one of the things Eclipse Foundation is known for is for its Eclipse development process. So that's for the implementation projects, but we also have the process for developing specifications. So Eclipse specification development process and then specialization of that. For example, in Jakarta, there is a body of specifications is Jakarta specifications development process. So all of these things are something that Eclipse Foundation is. I want to mention actually vendor neutrality. That's one of the big things that Eclipse Foundation is focusing on. So making sure that if there are multiple vendors or organizations developing a process, developing a project, that the project is not dominated by one company. Jakarta EE is again an example of that.
Will Eclipse help open source developers to get an earning from their projects and in a way build a product maybe on it or a company, or is that not the goal?
So there are options that are being explored as we speak. There are some projects who are, I'm not sure if that's an earning, but because some of the developers are having their regular jobs, but this is kind of side project. So in some projects there are opportunities like that. But I would say we're trying really to make sure that we celebrate anyone who is involved as an individual in the open source project is to highlight their involvement and also make sure that we raise that visibility. So even if there is no employment, direct employment from the Eclipse Foundation, we celebrate their work, raise their visibility, and therefore make them more employable. Again, I would draw examples from the JCON, where some of the individuals were recognized by some of the bigger companies that use that, as the opportunity to employ such an individual.
You have Eclipse Foundation. I think Common House is another one doing something like that, also European. Can you compare these?
Well, Common House is just relatively recently started up. So I would say the difference is that we are Eclipse Foundation is 20 years old, so there is some accumulated knowledge, which does not mean that the Common House cannot take lessons learned, and so. But I would draw that as a difference. I think there are some similar spaces in terms of the projects. We're happy to see anyone from Common House, and I'm sure they would say the same for the Eclipse Foundation. And yeah, like we're supportive firstly of any open source, so therefore Common House as well.
Yeah, I like that there are many options. Yeah. There's a great Java community. Everyone is helping each other. Yeah. What are the next things that you think are important in the evolution of Java?
Oh my goodness! Well, a lot. I think there is a lot. Java community is recognizing now that a lot of things need to be done, and we need to be prepared for the new era of let's say AI. But then also like figure out like what are we doing for the what is it called, the quantum computing? Why not? I mean, the whole AI is enabled partly because of all the computing power that we're going to have. And how are we going to fit in? And how is enterprise Java playing a role in it? Because I do want to always draw that parallel. Java SE is absolutely the basis. But as we know, enterprise Java is something that's not going to go away anywhere. And I know one would say, well, yeah, but we're using Spring. But let me remind you, Spring is also using JCON. So yes, we're definitely not going to go anywhere. And we need to figure out how do we fit into this longer term future, not just the next 3 to 5 years.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time for the interview, and have fun here at JCON.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hopefully this was useful.